I wrote this in the hour before dawn, alone in my van with only the light from my laptop. I'm camped in the Arizona desert with a bunch of people I know only from other camping adventures, other gatherings of the camping community. But not just weekend campers. This gathering is focused on people who live full-time on the road, America's nomadic peoples. This is the Van Build, a yearly gathering of the tribes. We socialize and have fun, but the stated reason for the meetup is to facilitate the helping of those who haven't quite figured out how to do full-time life on the road by those who have figured it out. Men and women of great skills have come from all over the country, hauling tools and work tables and generators and all sorts of gear for no reason other than to help others. Some of these highly capable people live on the road and carry tools with them always, but most of these generous souls have homes somewhere. There is much talk here about freedom, and you and I talk about liberty a lot. For some time, I've been thinking about these two words and what they mean. We often use them interchangeably, but in my view, they aren't quite the same thing. Freedom is mentioned in the Bill of Rights, but the Constitution as first ratified doesn't use the word. Liberty and independence are the ideas upon which this nation was founded. But when I was growing up, I never used the word liberty except in the Pledge of Allegiance we said every day in class, standing straight with one hand over our hearts. Freedom was what I was looking for when I ran off into the wide world just out of high school. It wasn't liberty that Richie Havens called out for in his famous improvised song at Woodstock, not what Jimi Hendrix was singing about. I've read up on the distinction between these two words. I suggest that you Google it too. Many interesting essays have been written. The best I've found is by Sam Jacobs. I'll link it below. But for now, I'll just hit you with my own impressions. Freedom, it seems to me, is an almost entirely self-focused idea. It is the desire to have no boundaries, no limits set upon one's actions. It's the romantic notion of being unbridled, unrestricted, to be able to go anywhere, pursue any pleasure, associate with anybody you please. Some would tell you this ought to be their right. Liberty, on the other hand, is a more careful understanding of rights. Liberty is the idea that one ought not suffer undue restraint imposed by others. In that sense, it's synonymous with freedom. But those who talk about liberty do so with the understanding that along with their freedoms come responsibilities and duties of various sorts. Here at the Van Build, there are all sorts of people. But if you just show me a picture of their rigs and let me watch what they do with their day, I can tell you whether they are liberty people or freedom people. In my own camp and in my own mind, I understand fully that in order to be out here off the grid enjoying my freedom, I also have to spend some time in service to others, and some time maintaining the relationships and sources of income that support periods of escape from my day-to-day work. The people who have rigs, either expensive or modest, which carry the tools they are using to help others, are not seeking release from work. They are here to work. They are here to help those who, for whatever reason, aren't able to install a solar panel or a ventilation fan, who don't possess the tools and know-how to build a bed like the one I sat on as I wrote this here inside my GMC Safari van. The people who, if not for the kindness of others and the largesse of us all through the instrument of government programs, would likely be sleeping on the street somewhere. The doers here are the liberty people. They have no illusions about their lives. My pal Eugene is a perfect example of the new American nomad that has been somewhat mythologized on 100 YouTube channels. He is old school capable. Hardly a day goes by that he doesn't innovate some new technique with which to make his life on the road more efficient. I last camped with him in January. After that, he headed for Wisconsin, where he has an arrangement with a big furniture company. He worked his tail off between then and now, living in his self-customized high-top van and saving every penny. Now, with winter hitting the north, he's back here in the warm southwest, but only for as long as his hard-earned money lasts. He knows that in order to have both freedom and liberty, he has to earn it and maintain it through his own voluntary effort. In the past, he's worked the beet harvest, sold RVs, worked on houseboats, and even worked on tall ships. Actually, he's done more jobs than I can list. He has another job waiting for him here in December. He doesn't want to be tied down to a life of drudgery, but neither does he want to live off the kindness of strangers. Scattered around the larger camping area are a number of people who simply cannot or will not work. They are here being cared for and in some cases rescued by people who have probably never once accepted charity themselves. There is no judgment here. perhaps there should be at least a small measure of that. Liberty or freedom? There was another song that got into my head when I was young. A Chris Christopherson song that we heard sung by Janis Joplin, me and Bobby McGee. The refrain tells us that freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. I've been there. It's not that much fun. For those of us who understand liberty as an earned sort of independence, the goal is to have as much freedom in our lives and in our minds as we are willing to work for. We don't want to end up in a battered 30-year-old Dodge Caravan with everything we own, with nothing behind us but burned bridges and nothing out ahead but welfare checks and aimless wandering. No, we'd like freedom to be another word for a life in balance. Not so much expected of us that we feel enslaved, but not so little expected that we feel unimportant and unneeded. We know that in order to be truly free, we need both something to look forward to and something to live up to. So we take our freedom in measured doses between periods of responsibility. We know that too much freedom becomes a trap of its own, a trap baited with leisure, but constructed of discomfort, despair, and social isolation. The guys in the homeless camp stepped into that trap and it closed behind them. That's not for us. No, we're grown-up versions of the kid standing next to his or her desk, facing the flag in the corner near the blackboard, with our hands on our hearts. We want to be active contributors to that one nation under God, one that is indivisible, where liberty and justice are available to all. It's a big project. It was always a big project. But we showed up today just like we did yesterday, and as always, we brought our tools.
I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go have a shower.
Yeah. Pretty stuck, all right. This is one of our camp mates, Wes.
I'm gonna put the strap on here. We're gonna just dig out a little bit, stick these underneath, and you'll be out in a second. So just dig.
This is Eugene coming to the rescue
buried,
here.
So give yourself a little bit of, you know. It won't. You need to tell front wheel drive, you know. This will be a 2-minute thing. Where CB did it and he burned them off because he didn't know better. He had 4-wheel drive. I'm like, put 4-wheel drive, and he didn't do it. You got front-wheel drive, so that'll help too.
Yeah, I can't see it, so I don't know what color.
Hold on, I'll tell you. So you're top right now. Wait for the burn to start moving and then give yourself a little bit of that. Go ahead and fire it up. Okay, go ahead and go. When he feels you move, he's going to hit reverse a little bit. Go ahead and go.
Just like that, huh? It's guys like this guy you need to have with you in the desert. Eugene, the mysterious force of nature. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.